Hello and welcome to Business Today. I am Siddharth Zarabi from Davos, where the World Economic Forum is being held. And with me today, Mr. CP Gurnani, one of India's foremost IT CEOs, the MD and the CEO of Tech Mahindra. Mr. Gurnani, thank you very much for joining us here on Business Today. The bigger picture, even as we see these wonderful mountains without snow behind us for the IT sector, is global headwinds and strong domestic demand. Would that be the right way to describe it?
I think global headwinds are probably for the economy, and it is in a way strange. I've been traveling for the past few weeks. US, the discussion is more around inflation. You come to Europe, the discussion is more about the war, and you are in Asia, the discussion is more about the gas prices. Same statement, but three different versions.
Yes.
I think to some extent, being in the technology sector, I would say is that even during these tough times, technology sector has a better outlook than most other sectors because ultimately the commerce has now moved to digital. And commerce means growth. Commerce means, doing business together. So I think technology will continue to be in the favorable limelight.
Post the pandemic, we saw a huge upsurge in digitization, like you said, and we've also seen some of it come down naturally because work shifted and some of the immediate pressures of the lockdown went away. You see this kind of growth sustaining overall for the industry and perhaps for your company as well?
I don't think it will be as steep a growth for all of us during this next few quarters. And again, I'm saying we will be in a growth phase. It may not be as steep a trajectory as it was. And the main reason is that the overall consumer demand has slowed down globally. When the consumer demand slows down, the businesses also have to adjust to the consumer demand.
Absolutely.
So while technology is the glue, technology is the the grow part of the equation, but there could be a little bit of delay in decision making.
That's an important point, and what Mr. Gurnani is also telling us, if we see it in the context of data, IT sector grew on a CAGR basis of around 3.2% globally, while Indian IT was almost three times that. One of the key questions that a lot of people ask, and your company, other companies in the sector face, is high attrition. We see paucity of talent and demand continues. How is the outlook as far as human talent is concerned?
Some of us who have been long enough in this industry have seen
one of the
have seen the same challenge during Y2K.
Okay.
We saw the same challenge during internet boom. So guess what I'm saying is, give or take a few more quarters, the supply will become in equilibrium with the demand, and some of these shortages may not be as big as we all are facing right now.
So the era of those outsized hikes, job switches, big pay hikes being given, is that also going to tamper a bit?
I think is, you have to be reasonable, because if you outprice yourself from the market, I mean, if I am a service provider, my customer is not going to pay me a very high premium. And if an individual or my services start attracting too much of premium, then we are basically saying we are getting out of the market.
Absolutely. Mr. Gurnani, we are at Davos, and a couple of questions as we end our conversation. Beyond just the IT sector, you are a veteran of, knowing the pulse of the globe, of companies and economies. What is Davos telling you about the India story beyond just the IT brand that we represent? Our efforts to do manufacturing in-house, to sell ourselves as a China plus one market for manufacturing. Is all of that resonating well? What's your own sense?
The reality is that many years ago, when the Modi administration came to power, I remember that That delegation was led by late Shri Arun Jaitley. And when he came and said we are open for business and we are going to grow, it doesn't matter whether it is a rain or a sun. I don't think people took him so seriously during that visit.
Okay.
But today, the same set of people do know that we are going to grow 8 to 9%. The world will grow 3 to 3.5%. The reality is that us becoming a large startup nation, us having those unicorns, I think the world is noticing. And similarly, the focus on infrastructure, the number of ports, 5 states coming and telling the world that we are open for business. That you walk up the promenade, 70% of the promenade space is today taken by Indians. 5 states, a few companies, India Diaspora, India Lounge, CII. I think it's a remarkable change.
While these are all good efforts, could it also be that the absence of China or Russia, for example, is throwing the spotlight more on India here?
So China never used to come to Davos, if you remember. It used to be very selective representation.
Yes.
The reason was very simple, that end of January and their Chinese New Year
used to coincide.
And that is why...
That's a Davos veteran's point of view. You don't get these kinds of insights elsewhere.
And Russia had a very small pavilion. Today you walk up the promenade, they still retain the Russia pavilion. So that has not gone away. But now they are shaming Russia. They are saying it's a Russia war crime stories. I think whoever sponsored that one is basically sending a message.
Absolutely. One final message from you, and I turn back the focus on India and the impending 5G auctions. Now, I don't want to get into the specifics of that, but what opportunity do you see 5G representing for India for the next wave of digitization, the next wave of taking technology to the last person standing?
I think, I come to this very, very rich, prosperous nation. And what I have on my phone is 3G. Think of being in India and running 5G and you don't have to worry about the wires hanging around you. Think of all the consumption because of Metaverse, because of AR, VR, because of maybe in your house 10 people gaming at the same time. I think that is what it will unleash. A better connectivity and definitely a life, even phase 2 of life without wires.
A final point for those who may not follow, because it's a millennial term, what does the metaverse mean? In the simplest manner possible.
So most of us remember that modem and getting onto an internet and having a few bytes trickle in. Many of us would remember the internet world. Many of us now are slaves of the app world.
Yes.
Now, what I am now saying is, imagine a world where it is not only you, your avatar is doing shopping, your avatar does the trials of all your shopping, your avatar is doing gaming, your avatar is now learning and simulating learning. All I'm saying is visualize an AR, VR world with AI, with blockchain and more personalized web.
Wow. And that's the virtual world, the metaverse that Mr. Gurnani is talking about. But as I wind down, I just want to tell you, we are breathing in some great fresh air and nothing best than nature to wish you all the best here at Davos. And thank you very much for your time, Mr. Gurnani.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.